Hey YouTube, this is React City and I'm Michael.
I'm Rose.
Hi Nikki.
And this is the Reactcast podcast.
Woo!
Yeah. So, pretty eventful week. Last time we left off, we were getting ready for Attack on Titan to come back, and we're getting ready for Mandalorian to come back, both of which have by now.
Yes.
Yeah, so the fun fact is, we keep saying Lida wrong, it's Iida. And people are getting mad salty.
I think they corrected us already.
Yeah. I know it, and every time I say Lida, I'm like, Lida would have just been such a better ironic name.
Lida. The Lida is Lida.
The Lida, you know?
I forgot again. We were told this. You told us from the comment at some point.
Why is the L there?
But for every time I read it, I'm like, that capital I is definitely a common letter L.
Yes.
That is definitely what that is.
Yeah, I recall us being told before. It's just, it rolls off the tongue, Lida, when you can't remember in the heat of the moment. Yeah. And it's just after the heat of the moment, it's like, what was it again? And you just keep going off of what you were saying in the beginning.
I know, it fell out of my head completely until just now. I was like, oh, that's right. That's his name.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious, though, because we haven't seen him in so long. So it wasn't an issue.
No.
So then he finally comes back and...
They're like, you're still saying it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, some people were a little sad that a lot of comments feel like Dark Deku Arc is coming to an end. Some others feel like it isn't, so I don't know exactly how far it's going. I think perhaps what's happening here is we're seeing an end of Solo Deku, and so that's what people are referring to as Dark Deku.
Maybe.
But how do you feel about it? Because people feel like it was pretty short for him to go out there and it'll be all angsty. But I feel like we got pretty much what it was supposed to be, and more time passed than we saw.
Yeah, I felt satisfied by the amount of time that we got of it. We got to see him do amazing feats, do his foe 100, and he basically pushed himself to the end of his rope. And I felt that he has exhausted his angsty time. He's exhausted it. Not that I'm tired of it, but I feel like if they had pushed it more, maybe we would have gotten tired of it. Yeah,
yeah. That's I agree with that. I feel like we've spent just enough time to round it out. Yeah, and because this isn't his personality.
No,
you know?
It's gonna.
So it would be like it feels like a phase now. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel like he's becoming a different person, which would have bothered me.
Yeah, I agree completely. The thing is, I like it when characters undergo changes, but at the same time, it was such a drastic change that I feel like he wouldn't. Not that he wouldn't become likable anymore, but it would have been. Where's the hero who's supposed to be the guy who saves everyone with a smile? I want that to still be the end goal. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do hope going forward he is a little different. Yeah, not a massive change, but I expect him to be a bit more serious, a bit more mature.
Like an emo riff off of the happy-go-lucky we saw before.
Yes. And I think that would be enough, because this is a very, traumatizing time that he's going through, a traumatizing experience. It makes sense that it would leave some scars on his personality. Yeah. So he's not going to be the same, but I don't want him to be all this 100% of the time. You know, this is just deep dark depths of depression, and we don't want him to be in deep dark depths of depression all the time. Not even just getting boring, it would just get it would get hard to take after a while. Just be like, oh, okay, more depression in the next episode. You know, it would just be heavy, and we kind of need to pick up back the hope again. We've dropped it.
Yes.
What's funny is, I actually really enjoy watching some Angst. Yes. I really like watching it. The thing is, it has to make sense. If it stops making sense and the story starts to fall apart, it's like, what the heck am I watching my life?
The thing is, it depends on the kind of angst that we're talking about. Okay. If we're talking about angst as in, almost like suffering, like tragedy, that kind of angst, I'm fine with.
Like that.
But the angst that's more drama side, like teenage angst kind of thing, I'm like, no.
Yeah. Angst that is towards the side of, is this cringe or what is it?
Yes.
You know, kind of like what Code Geass Angst was.
It was very close.
I remember we kept wanting to call it cringe.
Yeah,
but it wasn't cringe. It's not cringe. But that feeling of in your soul that has no words, but I'm sure the word exists out there in some language.
Somewhere.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think I'm a little bit further away from that because I never really got that feeling. It did get annoying to me. That's the worst it got. I got annoyed when the characters refused to save very easily explainable things.
Yes.
Like just say one sentence or even sometimes just one word and this whole situation is resolved.
Yeah.
That really upsets me. But cringe, I never quite got that. So I think my tolerance is like really high. I also saw in that episode, Deku achieved 100%, the full 100% again. And I was so sure a tired Deku would have some level of trouble with these guys. But dude, there was a comment war going on over people talking about, full 100%, all of them can barely take him. So we're like, no, they definitely got it. It was like, nah, he was barely being held back. It was just so funny to watch because people get really invested when you get numbers and statistics.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because you it's not a hard science, but once you start using percentages, you can get the perception that it's a hard science.
Yeah.
And then you get two different perspectives and they go to war.
Yeah.
This is true. Deku could have taken them though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Deku, it was psychological warfare. He was out of there.
Yeah.
And also they needed how many people to catch up with him? Yeah. So
all the classic.
Deku's fears are founded, but he does need to depend on somebody. And the fact that is basically you have Deku and all of Class A makes another Deku.
Yeah.
Or almost Deku.
Another Deku without full 100.
Without full 100, yes. Yes.
I was thinking afterwards that the fact that they beat him was supposed to be probably the point for Deku to get that at his current state he can't be better than them. So if he was able to escape, he'd be like, see, look how bad I'm falling apart and I still beat you.
Yeah.
So that would have been it. So the fact they caught him was like, yeah, you're right. I could use some help here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love watching the comments argue. Have you guys ever seen any of that?
No,
I haven't
on our
seen
channel? Yeah, I mean, I only when I don't ban people usually. I usually just shadow ban so they think they could still be heard. But I don't do that when people go back at it with each other because for whatever reason, anime arguments are some of the most. It's so interesting because they're like pseudo-logical. Like, usually you'll have one person who's just objectively right, at least from my perspective, because there's like the canon says this character said I could not possibly beat John, and then the other guy is like, yeah, I'm definitely better than this guy, and then someone else will come in from their perspective like, okay, but do either of them really know the situation? And so they'll be going back and forth on something like that, very nuanced, and they'll insult each other, but they'll both try to one-up each other like sounding smarter than the other, and nobody wants to be the one to just go down like, you know what, you're stupid because you lose. But it's an argument that everybody knows what's happening, but no one will say it. No one's going to admit that we're just trying to sound smarter than the other. And don't get me wrong, I'm not calling out anybody specific, because I've seen this in other comment sections too. It's just funny when it comes to anime, the only way to win is you have to use the lore logic and out pseudo logic the other guy. Because none of this is actually factual.
Yeah.
Because it's all left up in the air. Absolutely, John maybe could have lost to the other guy, but it's not proven. So you can argue about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my gosh.
It's very fun to watch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nobody says you're just stupid.
Yeah. So also we saw Attack on Titan, right?
Yes.
We got to see Attack on Titan, their little special. And that special was, remember when you dropped it on us on the podcast? And like, wait, what?
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. When I went back to look at, I think I was taking a clip out of it or something. And his face was like dead serious.
Yeah.
Like no joke.
It's like it's tomorrow.
And the two of us were like, oh, you're kidding, right? You're kidding, right? It just made me think of that Leia, is it Leia? Not Leia, Padme and Anakin. You're kidding, right? You're kidding, right? But you see his face, right? It just stays the same. That's how his face looked. Like the two of us were just like, what? And he's just, yeah, so it's tomorrow, and ignoring us 100%. Like, don't you know our reactions? Right? Didn't you expect our reactions?
It's precisely that I didn't react. I don't fake reactions. Yeah, but the reason was because mainly I try to give you guys a big heads up whenever there are changes or we're going to do another show. I realize, of course, usually we forget what show we're doing on the day of, so I have to remind you, but that's different. Like, I tell you guys ahead of time when a show's around the corner, and I try to say it over and over, but for somehow Attack on Titan just snuck up. Well, not somehow, I know how. It's because it came out March 1st, and I was still in February mindset, I guess. And so I was like, no, it's not till March. And it just didn't click to me. And February is a shorter month.
Yeah.
And so it was like, no, I was telling you, it's like, yeah, March. And then he's like, isn't Attack on Titan in March? And I was like, And so then I looked it up later. I was like, oh my gosh, tomorrow is March. Yeah, so I kind of felt bad a little bit about it. And it was also like, all right, just get this over.
Yeah, just like rip the Band-Aid off.
Just let it out. I mean, what did you guys think of it though?
Oh, it was so
Epic.
good. I did not feel disappointed.
Not disappointed at all. I loved everything about it. I was very happy because I was afraid that it would be just hold on to this for a moment while we work on the show, and it would just be a bunch of crap or a bunch of filler or a bunch of side character things. But no, it was the show and it was a continuation. And if you didn't watch it, you're gonna miss things in the next season. Loved it. It felt like basically one long episode, which is which is unusual that I would. Normally I'd complain. That was just one long episode. But I was happy.
It's because it was 2 long episodes. Sorry, 3 long episodes.
Yeah. I was... At first when the whole Annie and Armin thing was happening, at first I was like, okay, we're really going to do this now. But then that completely melted away from my mind as the scene was unfolding. Yeah. And then by the time we got to the second half, it's like, wait a second, was the entire first half virtually their relationship right there? But I liked it. Like, there's nothing I saw that just left me wanting. No. Yeah, and a lot of the manga readers especially felt like, I looked it up after the fact, they were really mad that Hanji died. But it felt like it was just alright, let's kill a character. And it didn't make any sense, but when they saw it, it felt like it had to happen, and it was masterfully done. So I think that's really the beauty of when it gets animated.
Yeah, that's good. I'm happy for the manga readers.
Yeah.
By the way, spoilers.
Sorry. But also, I feel like Attack on Titan is a show that's going to get better with time. Because it's all going to be out.
Oh, yeah.
If you get introduced to Attack on Titan after it ends, it's probably going to be the best anime you've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be like an aged wine. Forever perfect.
An earmark in anime history.
Yes. All these years that they put into Attack on Titan, never giving up on it, like even when you thought they were giving up on it, it was worth it.
And the way that they introduce, like, they go from like absolute mystery to like trying to like master this new like given fate that we have, is like we're trying to beat fate right now.
Yes. Yeah, it's a masterful anime. Like, if I always remember when you were trying to get us to watch this show. Remember when we just started doing the anime thing, like before the channel? And you're like, let's start watching anime. And he was like, let's do Attack on Titan. And she was like, no, I'm not doing Attack on Titan, you. We're like, and then we finish the show and we started, how about we do Attack on Titan? Attack on Titan. It was like, no, we're not doing Attack on Titan. Like, she was so against it. She didn't want to do it. Now you're the biggest fan.
Yeah, I think it was like the 3rd show. Like when we started watching shows, that 3rd one that we started.
Probably, yeah. We finally came around. I think it was only 2 times she really said no.
Well, because at that time, the most like hardcore anime I had watched was Kuroko no Basket. Yeah. So
you weren't used to that kind of hardcore.
No, not at all. And then I don't remember what anime I started watching that made me. Oh yeah, I think it was One Punch Man that gave me the itch for action.
Yeah, and also I think the other thing too was there was not the next date. They weren't talking about the next one yet.
No,
it was still like up in the air if they were ever coming back. But he was like so in love with it. It's like, come on, guys, come on.
Yeah, it's the only show I've ever watched that I immediately knew it would get a sequel one day. Even all those 8 years before, I was like, it has to be. It and One Punch Man had to get a next season. One Punch Man now, I'm surprised it got a season 3 just because of how the reception of season 2 was. But with Attack on Titan, it was so incredible that it broke through the Western barrier and became like a cultural thing in the West, which doesn't happen on a large scale very often. It and One Punch Man were the first 2. So it's like they have to get another one, even if you don't want it.
Yeah.
They have to make it. They have
to do it. They need the money.
The birds and the bees and the eagles.
Oh, the
first intro.
The first intro.
Yeah, I don't remember.
The misheard lyrics, I think, thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
For the longest time, I thought those were the actual, like, English dub lyrics. I was sold. I was like, birds, bees, eagles.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
My favorite for the misheard thing is the Death Note season 2 intro. Where it's just, you remember when he started yelling, like, or something? I don't know.
I think I remember, but I don't remember what the lyrics were.
It was white people. White people. It's incredible. But yeah, also we saw Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, that
so
this week.
People were pointing out that Mandalorian is just doing a really good job of world building.
Oh yeah.
And I was wondering if you guys have noticed anything or seen anything that you're glad has been added to the show. like I'm happy that they keep talking about the warlords being out there, and the warlords have very small groups of fighters, and sometimes a warlord just has one ship. The Empire had hundreds of ships, you know. So that for me is the biggest takeaway from this. But it hasn't been anything that you've seen that you want to learn more about, or now that you have learned more about it, you're very satisfied.
I liked even though it was just for us to spoilers, just for when Grogu had to go back and get Bo-Katan to save Din Djarin, the showing off the map, like this place is over here, and this is over there, because that's one thing I've always like wished to understand more, which I think they've talked about. They've talked about different what I don't know, galaxies or whatever, but I've always been confused. So I've always been like wanting to understand, okay, so where is everybody? Where is Coruscant? Is it in this galaxy with Navarro, or is it over here? I don't know. So it was cool to find out that, you know, Kalevala is right near Cordia, right near what's it, the Mandalorian's planet, you know. I was like, oh, they're all here. Oh my gosh, little family. You know, so I like learning about like where things were.
Yeah.
Just a slight correction. It's one galaxy. They've got different systems, but it's just one galaxy.
One galaxy, okay.
I felt a little bit, what is it, like nerd elitist. I was like, this planet of Coruscant is not next to the city of Navarro.
Well, I knew that. I just didn't know like where it is. I was just saying words.
One thing that go ahead.
No, I was saying.
One thing that I like seeing in this show is like the evolution of Navarro, the whole place Navarro, and like its slow building up of being like an actual like well built place, well off place.
Yeah.
And we saw that through like all the Mandalorians, and
he's always there. Yeah, always goes back there. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I was very happy to just hear the names. Just saying the names of these moons, every single thing that is pointed out is permanently ingrained in canon.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you watch like someone like Blindwave, they get very excited over that because once Disney said expanded universe is just not canon, a lot of people were really hurt by that.
Yeah.
And so by putting these things in, and sometimes sneaking in some things as just an Easter egg, by canonizing it, you say that entire book over there is now canon again. It wasn't for nothing that we read that.
Yeah.
That's very important to old fans like me. So it's like sometimes I'll be like, wow, they're really listing off a whole lot of random stuff here, but it's for a reason. It's all being canonized as we speak.
That's amazing.
That's how directors get their favorite stories canonized.
Yeah. They just say it in an episode. Oh, that's great.
The stories they didn't get to direct.
Personally, I stopped kind of caring what canon was, just because I feel like everything at this point has been treated as is canon until otherwise proven. I feel like because they'll operate off just the assumption that this thing was in the EU has been canon.
True.
So just until they contradicts it, I just assume it's canon, so it hadn't bothered me that much. But yeah, that's for the old fans out there. I really enjoyed that.
That's kind of how I've been thinking of it too, because like I literally have no other basis to go off of. Because you tell, like I mentioned a bunch of times before, all I know of Star Wars is what you have told me. Star Wars is my favorite book that I love to hear about. You know what I mean? I will never read it. Somebody has to tell me about it. So when I heard a lot that they were like, we're uncanonizing all of that stuff, and like my favorite, what is it, Vapad and stuff from that Mace Windu, all that stuff. I'm like, why? That was so cool.
Yeah. And
like learning about the like Mandalorians at the time, because the Mandalorians weren't canonized, not this way at least.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mandalorians, a segue. Thank you, Rose.
You're welcome.
Oh, speaking of canonizing Mandalorians, we spoke a little bit in the aftertalk for Mandalorian. About my experience dealing with a real world, you know, in the wild person who did not be a newbie Star Warsy
or mainstreamy,
we should say, because he might not be newbie.
Mainstream Star Wars.
Yes, and his view of the Mandalorians, because I was schooled by this one here, but I mislearned. But I was schooled that the Mandalorians' original normal group take off their helmets. That's normal. But the more extreme groups that is the ones that we are seeing are Mando, Guy, Din Djarin, where they keep their helmet on all the time. This is the way. But because of Mandalorian, more of the people who are just getting into Star Wars are feeling, oh, this is normal, right? And you were saying you were afraid of that's what would happen, or you were just a little, you don't want to kind of be too hard and fast. You were telling me. Yeah, but then I found this guy was like, I was telling him, the normal ones actually take their helmets off, and he was like, oh, really? And I was like, what? A real person who doesn't know. But yeah, anyways, now I know that you want to explain your perspective a little clearly. Oh,
no, I was just saying that I thought that going forward, because of our introduction through somebody who is a part of an extremist cult, all the other stuff that other directors will make, or people will make fan fictions, or people will make comics, they might take the perspective of this extremist group, and it will change what used to be the normal into now the extremist version is the normal.
Yeah, especially with Armorer Lady, I feel like that solidifies it so much. Like the last episode, the Armorer, is it Armorer? Yeah, between the Armorer and blue guy that doesn't like
Paz.
Oh, Paz. Visla.
He's like, your clan has forsaken the way, therefore you are not welcome here. I'm like, to me, like anyone who doesn't know the history and they hear that, like, oh, so
you're not a Mandalorian.
You're not a real Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So that's what I would have thought if I didn't know that. Oh no, they were more of the close to the normal people, the everyday people were like that, and these guys are the ones that are kind of like shooing away everybody else. But you wouldn't get that from watching that scene or anything, especially the Armorer is like, you're welcome here now. It just feels so benevolent. Of course these are the normal ones.
Yeah.
They're
letting in the weirdo.
I don't know.
It's especially funny because someone in comments pointed out how odd it was that Paz called her out like that, knowing that she is the daughter of one of the heroes of Mandalore, and her sister was a ruler of the planet.
Yeah.
She's literally royalty.
Yeah.
And Paz, his last name is Visla. His clan was a part of Death Watch, which was co-founded by Bo-Katan. So he is related directly to the hierarchy that ruled Mandalore. So it just was weird for there to just be this disconnect.
Yeah.
He's talking to her and there's no recognition.
Nothing.
You never heard about her?
Well, I guess.
I mean, maybe he did, but you know what I mean.
It could also be maybe those are the directors kind of making their move. They're like, okay, that part's not canon, guys. Sorry.
Well, the thing is, it has to be.
It has to be.
The Clone Wars TV show is still canon, and that's where all that stuff happened. But also, they've said she's a part of the Night Owls, which was a branch in the Death Watch.
And he
call her out,
so he does know her.
So he recognizes her, but I guess he's just kind of being a meanie.
Yeah, so people were in the comments, and I had a little
character trait.
I said back to him, maybe next episode they're kind of waiting for that conversation, because this was also a question I had. Do you think Bo-Katan is going good or bad here? Because it could be that the reason she kept the whole mythosaur thing to herself is she wants to use Mandalorians, and if this is actually, we know he's a Visla, she wants to make a connection with him. Maybe next episode we get a little talk between them about what Death Watch was and what she wants to do with the planet. It just seems odd that she never brought up that.
Yeah, about the mythosaur.
She was right-hand woman to pre-Visla, the leader of the Death Watch.
Yeah. But I mean, they know who her clan is. So shouldn't they know her history?
They absolutely know her history. She was sister to the leader of the planet.
Right, so she shouldn't have to bring it up is what I'm trying to say. Like, so is that the question marker?
No, the question mark is if they didn't have any recognition or talk about that right there, maybe they're going to have it next episode.
Yeah.
Because we still don't know what she wants to do with the Mandalorians. Because right now she's at a crossroads. She could legitimately just join the covert, or she's kept the mythosaur thing to herself. And these two characters, it just seems weird from a story perspective to have no one kind of bring up the Visla thing. But maybe it's just not time or place. That's possible. It just seems like something that's in the air that could have been talked about not off screen, separately.
Yeah. I would say the fact that they're leaving her silent and we're just zooming into her face is just leaving there to be a lot of space for where she could go. I think they're purposefully leaving it a mystery so that they can surprise us whenever they make the decision on screen. But if I were to guess, or based on what we have so far, I think she has very great ambitions. And after she lost the one thing she really wanted to do, she kind of lost her leadership, I guess, ambitions. They all went away with her ability to, hold the sword and lead the people. Yeah, she basically just let them go. I don't know that I saw her trying to keep them. is what I'm trying to say. I feel like she basically let go of her ambition because she thought she lost her chance. But I feel like now she's seeing a glimmer of hope of maybe she could do something. So I see her chasing that. And it might have the possibility of making her go, not evil, but do some underhanded things to make it happen. So she might just turn against this. I don't know if she'll actually stay in this group.
I feel like long term, that's where they want to bring the story. Of her staying with her people, really, because she's everybody else is going off to do God knows what. But I feel like she is gonna like do some squirming about it. Because she's like, this is a hot helmet, man.
Yes, I'm taking off ever.
When do I eat, man?
Well, we saw Din Djarin. Finally, we got to see him. Like he actually did the thing.
Yeah, he's just
underneath. Yeah,
just a tiny tip of the hat.
Of the hats.
Yeah, I mean, at first I wanted her to kind of have a heel turn and just go full evil, but at this point it was like, she's not bad working on screen with Jin. So I wouldn't mind if she was not evil. But at the same time, she has so much ambition. Like this one from the Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, now this show, she always hungered for power. I can't see her just dropping it because these guys are chill. Yeah.
She's too like pondery right now to drop it.
I think she's fully gonna be like, I'm gonna tame this mythosaur.
Yes.
This is my mythosaur now.
Yes. But
then afterwards challenge Jin for the sword.
For the sword, yes. Fighting with the mythosaur.
While riding the mythosaur.
But then again, I was thinking, like, she is so much better a wielder. We also saw she's such a better wielder of it.
Yeah.
And you said it's because she probably trained with it for a while because of the previous
probably
wielder.
Yeah. I don't remember everything from it.
But, yeah, so I feel like if they were to have a duel, I think she needs an excuse for a duel. Especially now that they're in a covert together, like, except Paz didn't have an excuse, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, she needs an excuse, but I feel like she would jump at it. She's still ambitious.
Yeah, just got a challenge. Yeah, so you got any rants, Rose?
Oh yeah, I do. So I've been watching just different dramas, and I've branched out a little bit. I watched some Chinese dramas, and I watched a Japanese drama. And I noticed something watching the Chinese drama. I have never seen. Earmark this. This is important.
Okay.
I have never seen a Chinese drama where they don't go to the hospital at least twice to almost die, and then be totally fine and just walking in the next few days.
Wow. It's a miracle.
Every time.
Wow.
At least twice. And I'm like, why?
Twice for the whole thing or in one episode?
Twice for the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't matter where they are in the world. This person could be an alien. In fact, I've watched one where the person is an alien. Have to go to the hospital.
Okay.
I'm almost dying. Of course,
And the hospital people have no questions. Oh, there's an organ in the wrong place. It's fine.
You'll walk it off.
But I just noticed this, and I'm just like, how much do these hospitals get paid? Are they using real hospitals, or are these sets? It's just like a myriad of questions started popping into my head.
Yes.
So was it good?
It was a very it was a good ad.
It was okay.
It was a good drama. Yeah.
Okay.
I almost shifted into anime rating, but I'm like, no, this is a pretty good drama. It's called Well Intended Love.
Oh, that one.
Love? Yes. Well Intended Love. And I also noticed that usually the male main characters, they have I guess this is also for K-dramas too, is that they could be like really like a stoic personality, but as soon as he and the girl get together, he just becomes like this teddy bear. And I was like, okay.
Change.
It's just like ooey gooey love and yay. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's because it's catering to female fantasies.
Yeah, it's like they want the man to be like him.
Yes, or not even that. Like the idea of you look at a guy and he looks so standoffish, but then I'm gonna make him become mine. Then when he becomes like he's only has eyes for you. Yes, that kind of thing. It's just the thing that girls want.
This is true. Yes.
See, that's on occasionally Dad, for whatever reason, watches Harmony. What's it called? Harmony? The drama Hallmark.
Yes.
Occasionally just goes to Hallmark, and that is something they do.
Mm-hmm.
They do the weird stoicism, but then the guy and girl get together, and suddenly it's the most dramatic thing on earth.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, and also once he goes from like stoic and like has everything under control, he falls in love, and for some reason everything starts falling apart.
Yeah.
It's like joining main character syndrome.
She's cursed.
They're always cursed.
They're cursed.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what exactly was it about?
Well, it was about. So she finds out she has cancer, and she needs leukemia specifically, and she needs a bone marrow transplant in order to survive. And this one CEO is the only person who matches her, and so he at the same time, his grandmother wants him to get married because she's kind of sick, and she's like, I want to see you get married before I die. And she's like the only family he has left. So he's like, okay, they're like, okay, let's make a marriage contract. I will donate my bone marrow to you if you marry me for 2 years.
For the rest of her, which is the end of her life.
For 2 years. For the end of who's life?
She has cancer. Oh, yes. Transplant. She'll be okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So he's like, just for 2 years.
Okay.
And he was his grandma.
Yeah.
But, oh my gosh. The whirlwind that we find out later. Okay, can I spoil spoils?
Okay, it's a big spoiler.
Yes, this is plot spoils.
All right.
He faked her diagnosis so she would marry him.
She got a bone marrow transplant.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. He faked it. It was just vitamins because turns out she was just anemic.
Wait, okay.
Well, he can do that?
She was just anemic, which is why she went to the hospital, but he switched her diagnosis to say she had leukemia.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But you said for the bone marrow stuff, they put vitamin in her bone marrow.
They just made her pass out and just gave her some vitamins while she was passed out.
Oh my gosh.
This is terrifying.
Yes.
She falls in love with this man?
Wait, so
this only happens on like episode 5 of 20.
20? So what was the rest of it about? Forgiving him?
They were in love, and she also, of course, gets kidnapped for some reason.
Wait.
Oh, it was episode 9, sorry.
Was he in love with her in the beginning, or was it all just to make grandma happy?
The moment he saw her, yes. He was like, I'm in love with you and I will make you mine.
So he's a creepy stalker dude that she ended up falling in love with?
Yes. However, yes. There's no however, this is just a sign. I at least, in this, sometimes they do things like this in dramas and I'm just like, bro. But at least she called him out. She was like, your love is scary. She like straight up said that. And I'm like, thank you. I feel justified. I will continue watching.
I think I heard you say something like that.
She was so like vocal when she was watching this one. Like,
my headphones were on.
Is she getting louder?
And I'm just like, bro.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yes.
My gas was entirely flabbergasted because before I started watching, I watched a comment. I read a comment about it and being like, yeah, this is made in like the wrong century. This is not her. It's in some weird twisted way, I suppose you could say it's romantic, but the guy is unusually and uncomfortably domineering. I was like, I got through the first 5 episodes. I'm like, yeah, he's domineering, but it's like it's not that bad. Then I got to that episode. I was like, oh my god, because she was like crying and stuff. She thought she was dying. She thought she had no other option.
That's messed up, dude.
That's messed up.
And the bright side, she left him for like, I don't know, a couple months. But a not so bright side, she got back together.
I gotta ask though. You said they got the fake transplant or whatever. Doesn't that count as going to the hospital?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you mean as one of the No, that was a different thing. Somebody else almost died.
Oh,
it's just I thought you said this one didn't have that, and that's what was so surprising about it.
Oh no, that one we went to the hospital a couple of times.
Okay. So there were 2 separate, and I mixed them up. Okay.
Oh, and of course, amnesia arc. Sorry, continue.
No. When you're saying you've never seen a drama without the hospital thing, you were just making that as a statement. You weren't saying that any of them. That's what he's misunderstanding.
No.
Okay, my bad. The second question.
Yes.
If he fell in love with her at first sight, he's got hella money. He's a rich CEO.
Yes, he is.
Evidently, he's handsome as well.
Yeah.
Why did he do this?
He doesn't have any reason. He could just like hit on her and she'd be fine.
He 100% could have just been like, "Hey, want to go on a date?" She was already into him. Like the first time she saw him, the first time she noticed him, at least, because there was like 2 other incidents when he saw her from afar when he was having a bad day. She was doing something completely normal, of course, every girl, and she was nice to a little child who was lost.
Okay.
He was like, "You're different." Of course.
Because I wouldn't do that. I'd leave that little thing to suffer.
No, he would have told you it had cancer.
You can only survive if I adopt you. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Yeah, so I think maybe we go on to the final topic.
Just moving swiftly on.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let you guys know that Trigun, I looked it up, several sources say that it will be 12 episodes. And so that means we've got 2 left, and that we will definitely have enough room for Demon Slayer, which is coming April 9th, next month.
This is true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so it'll take us right into April, and then we got, I think, 1 week break, and then we get it. And from the looks of it, the show for Demon Slayer is coming out on Sunday in Japan, but sometimes they do a day off for Crunchyroll, so maybe it'll be a Monday show. But I expect it'll probably be a Sunday show, which
I think it was last time.
I think it's always been a Sunday show.
It was a Sunday show.
Yeah. It also, I saw a clip, I don't know how old it was, but it won Best Fantasy from the Crunchyroll Awards.
Cool.
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer. Oh.
I have no idea how old that clip was.
Okay.
So that could have been like 5 years ago. But I thought it was cool.
You didn't look up the date?
No, I just went neat. I moved on.
At some point, it won an award for doing things.
Yeah. Well, it's been consistently amazing. So if it won it like years ago, it would win it again. Like all the animation, the story, beautiful.
The music, everything.
Everything.
The clip had Giguk. You know Giguk? The anime guy? Not the anime man. Giguk. Gigguk, I think. Yeah. He was just sad because he was expecting either Made in Abyss or I'm forgetting the name, but it's another big fantasy anime. It was like Demon Slayer of all these, that wins fantasy, because I guess Demon Slayer is considered kind of low fantasy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe it's because it's mainstream now.
Yeah, it's probably just the mainstream.
I do know Made in the Abyss, and that is some.
I know it gets messed up.
It is.
I don't know exactly
it does
what
get
happens.
Kind of messed up, yeah.
Flashbacks.
I watched like a special of it, and I was like, whoa, man.
She physically jumped there.
You didn't watch the anime. You watched the special.
No, yeah, because there was too many episodes for me. I'm like, I'm not watching all of this.
Wow.
That's some Prince of Tennis level of interest. I'm not doing that.
Dude, that'd be like if you saw Attack on Titan had 70 episodes, like forget that, and just watched the part 3 special, just saw the ending.
Yes, I would. Oh my gosh,
exactly.
She would do that.
You're so frustrated.
So frustrating.
Because then you pass judgment over this anime. But what if it was
like
good?
Like you're doing right now.
What if it was good? What if it would be your favorite anime ever?
I don't make any judgment about whether it's good or not. It's just this.
Are you ever gonna watch it? On your own?
Oh, absolutely not.
Exactly. You've made a judgment in your mind.
It's not because of how I watched it. Like the show itself, if I were to watch it, I'd be like, oh, this is a pretty good. But I'm not gonna watch it
because what you've seen tainted your view of this show.
I wasn't gonna watch it in the first place. That's why I watched the special.
No, you watched the special so that you could seal yourself off from watching it. Yeah, you did.
There's stuff that I watched like the middle of it, and then I'm like, this is pretty good. That's not
normal.
JJK, that's how I started watching.
You watched Toto.
Jujutsu Kaisen. That's how I got into it.
To be fair, you never got into it. You saw that one scene, then you started watching it with us.
No, I watched that one scene, and then I went back and I watched everything after that.
The first part, yeah.
Okay, I thought you just watched that, and then you watched it with us to actually see the show to get that point. Okay. But, you acted a little surprised when I said Demon Slayer was low fantasy. It's because stuff like Made in Abyss, the whole world is sci-fi. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much an alternate dimension in terms of how real it is to ours. Demon Slayer is Japan.
That's true.
Sure, there's the demons or whatever. Yeah, and the sword fighting styles.
is very.
The visuals aren't even there when they're fighting with the swords. That's for the audience.
Mm-hmm.
They're just swinging the sword around really hard, really.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
I guess I understand that.
But yeah, it also opened. I saw recently that it opened as #1 the Swordsmith Village arc. The movie opened as #1 in Mexico.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
the best show that they had.
Another country.
Yeah.
Basically a combination of episodes again.
That's what we're guessing.
We're guessing.
We're guessing.
Mhm.
Oh, so how are we gonna find out for sure?
Once the season comes out.
Yeah.
Oh, people are gonna have to tell us.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I figure it should be. Like, it's called, the movie's title is Swordsmith Village arc. And the next arc is the
Yeah.
Swordsmith Village arc.
Okay.
It has to be the same
It has
thing.
to be the same
Mhm.
thing.
Maybe it'll be prettier if it was in the movie, but it's a pretty anime anyway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nothing to miss. Cool.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. Just because I've really enjoyed the setup for Demon Slayer. I think it was very innovative in the way it was just non-stop action. You just get to the point
Straight.
very
Yeah.
quickly. But at the same time, it breaks it down into understandable bits of story. Because
Yeah.
each arc so far has just been us underneath another Hashira.
Hashira. Yeah.
And underneath another Hashira, and we're learning. And I think that's the same thing they're going to do here in the next
Yep.
one.
Yep.
Mhm.
The Swordsmith Village. Who would it be? Was it the Mist guy?
The swordsmith.
The actual Swordsmith guy?
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he's a Hashira, though.
He's not a Hashira.
That's
He's
what
just a
I was
swordsmith.
wondering if we'd end up with a Hashira there.
I think I may have seen which one it was,
I
but
think
I
we
think I want to leave
saw.
it up to you guys if you don't remember.
I remember now.
Oh, you remember?
Yeah.
I remember we saw two.
Yeah.
Two
We saw
swordsmiths.
two of them.
Okay, which one do you remember?
I remember both of them. Mist and Love.
Yeah.
Oh, you were talking about Hashiras?
Yeah.
I'm talking about swordsmiths.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm trying to
know.
remember which Hashira I saw that was associated with the village, right?
Yeah, we saw. I remember three.
I
3.
don't remember the third one.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I know which one it's going to be. So what 3?
It's Crineman. Crineman? Rock.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember seeing him. I only remember seeing Mist and Love Girl.
Yeah, I remember when they were giving the news, we saw the rock guy was training the big dude who was with the graduation year
Right.
of the other 3. Yeah.
Mm.
Was he the only other one for that graduation year? It was.
Other than Zap Zap.
Zap
Yeah.
Zap. Oh, yeah, he was there.
Zenitsu.
Zenitsu was there, Tanjiro was there,
Oh.
Big Buff Dude was there, and someone else.
The girl. The one that
Right.
she didn't even know how she.
Butterfly.
Yeah.
Butterfly's a princess.
And also-
she. Yeah, I was mixing her up. Yeah.
And what's his name?
Dragon
Bor.
Rock?
Bor he finished first. and
Oh,
left.
Bor. Yeah.
Yeah, he dipped out. Yeah, so that was the graduation class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm very curious what direction they're going to take the angry kid who just got jacked out of nowhere. He definitely got drugs. Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to do with him because the graduation year thing they do in animes, that core is usually very important. So that guy just left. He could have been the main character, but he left. Yeah, I think that's it though. You guys have anything else?
No.
No.
All right. Well, guys, thank you guys very much for being here. It was very fun to talk. And if you guys have any thoughts or anything that we said you want to correct, leave it down in the comments down below. We read all of them. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the city. Goodbye.